So Dr. Stone is getting its third season. Officially confirmed, a little mini teaser out there, we get it in the episode. We're going exploring on a pirate ship, and I can't wait to learn more about what caused the petrification, but also hopefully save Tsukasa after he was kind of frozen as basically a way to kill him but preserve his body, and hopefully we can petrify him, remove the petrification, and he'll be all well and good. This episode had me near tears, this episode had me rolling, this episode had me glued to the screen, and at multiple points just appreciating seeing so many people who came from the modern age, blown away by what they would consider primitive, are actually more capable than them, and they're kind of like the stone monkeys in the world at this point, watching all these characters be more intelligent than them. This episode was fantastic, and you can definitely understand why this was kind of like the prologue, as it was titled. It was the end of one chapter and a start of a brand new one. The world is much bigger than the little forest area that they live in. It's just we've been held down by the threat of Tsukasa and the uncertainty of, do we have enough to survive? After defeating all those obstacles, what's the next logical outcome? Well, we have to discover what caused everything to happen. We don't want it to happen again. Was it aliens? Was it a natural disaster? Was it human technology doing something unfortunately just cause it all to happen? You want to know it, but you also have so many practical uses if you can harness it. Not only just save our boy Tsukasa, but in the episode they bring up the fact that if we can petrify things at will, we could catch as many fish as we want, turn them to stone, and we always have fresh food waiting. Not only that, it would remove all the toxins and negative things inside said fish. There's an unlimited amount of ways to take something that was once a natural disaster and turn it into your greatest weapon, and honestly, I'm here for it. I think this episode, I walked in simply saying, I don't need anything to happen. I could simply watch characters just interact, brag about their ramen, brag about their glasses, and I'd be okay with that. But the emotional swing with Tsukasa and Senku, I've never seen Senku this crushed. I mean, the phone message from his dad, obviously the message that his father left him, that was definitely up there. But there's something I think really special about Tsukasa and Senku's relationship, is that there's always been something there. It's just they've had such a different perspective of what to do with this world that caused them to be very divided. But you really do feel like they were frenemies more than they were ever truly enemies. And I don't think Senku at any point really harnessed such an ill will towards Tsukasa that he wanted him to die, nor do I think Tsukasa wanted to kill him because he thought he was a bad person, just he thought it was a threat for the world. And to see the parting words with them, because really the only way for them to save him is to petrify him, and then hopefully the reverse effect will obviously heal him. We've seen it plenty of times with statues that are broken. Most of the pieces were there, but some were missing, and a manga author comes out and he's just fine. I think the idea of him coming up with basically a super glue for medical procedures to close wounds, it's good, it's a temporary solution, but there's no way that in 2 nights they can figure out a way to petrify someone. And I'm really glad they don't. I thought they were just going to take a few shards of, maybe they would basically crack some shards, they would put it around his lung, and then they'd, unpetrify it or something like that. But no, like, there's actually going to be struggle, and there's no guaranteed. He's essentially in a freezer. He's dead. Senku killed his friend in order to hopefully save him in the future, because as long as the body doesn't decay, there's a chance that by petrifying and then removing, he might be okay, but there's no guaranteed. And I think that's like the best way to end the arc with Tsukasa and Senku and end the so-called prologue, by giving you that emotional swing where, for the first time ever, they had a casual conversation. There was nothing specific about it. It was just like, who would you take on an adventure? Senku's dropping Super Mario logic, being like, he's not actually growing, he's just on a ridiculous trip. It's just nice to have that moment, because there's so much that they could really have bonding-wise if Senku can succeed. Not only just for his own people, it will allow them to never have to worry about starvation, because maybe some years there's a great amount of fish and wild animals and berries, other years there isn't. If you can turn everything to stone, you can literally just store it for a rainy day and you'll never have to worry. But also, if anything ever happens to someone, you can save their life with basically the best modern medicine ever composed. That's what's so interesting about him. That's what's so, I think, it's the most bittersweet but perfect way to wrap up Season 2. I assumed we were getting a Season 3, I just wasn't sure were they going to confirm it right after the episode ends. And I'm really glad they did, because this was definitely a shorter season, but I don't think many people can argue Stone Wars itself needed to be more than 11 episodes. It feels like the pacing was tight, it feels like the pacing knew what it wanted to tell, and it ended an arc in a very satisfying way that didn't feel rushed or dragged out. And I'm perfectly fine if every year and a half, we get a 10 to 12 episode season of Dr. Stone that continues the adventure and tells something that's self-contained but still pushes the future of the narrative forward. By knowing that we're going to go on an exploration arc, I'm excited. I mean, if they give me 24 episodes, sure, but I'm perfectly content with single cores going forward if it means we're going to have consistent quality, and that's all that really matters. There's a lot of sweet moments, there was a lot of funny moments, but I think there was just a lot of we let our guard down for the first time. There was never a point in this episode that I felt like my guard needed to be up. The worst was Tsukasa and him knowing that he's going to die. And when he said, if I have to die by anyone's hands, I want it to be Senku's, that hit me. I really, really feel that way. Especially considering that this is a man who every time he crushed a statue remembered where he crushed it and why he did it. He never forgot about the people that he killed. And I think that's what makes the redemption side of Tsukasa so much more engaging, is it never felt like he was a psychopath who then turned good. He was always a good man with good intentions. He was just clouded by his beliefs, and, he held that guilt every single night. And to see them say, no matter how long it takes, we're gonna revive every single person that you broke. The mechanic is there. Sure, realistically, could we put together every single statue? Probably not. But we're also in a world where a giant petrification ray destroyed the world and turned everyone to stone, and we're back to square one, right? Where everyone has a chance at survival. I'm perfectly fine if we're saying characters can spend days upon days rebuilding a puzzle piece that most people probably couldn't ever do. It just feels like this was an episode, this was a season that said, everything we loved about Dr. Stone was here, but it sets in motion something so much bigger and more interesting that literally crossing that sea is going to provide so many new adventures with new threats, new obstacles, and so many more possibilities. I think this was phenomenal. It was absolutely everything the last episode needed to be, and I'm glad that even though they have a way to theoretically save everyone in the future, they have to work to get there. It's almost like an end goal, it feels like, because if they were to just be able to take stone pieces, put it over a wound that wasn't theirs and match it up and heal, it would basically remove any threat. But by having them need to learn about the petrification, make something that allows them to harness it if they even can, it makes it feel like, once again, another obstacle, another journey, while having that fear of not knowing will Tsukasa come out of it. It's a great way to just leave us all feeling satisfied, but still have those obstacles to tackle in the future. Dr. Stone Season 2 lived up to every expectation I had. We saw the Stone Wars, we saw emotional punches I did not see coming, and overall, I think, if anything, the best praise I can give. Leaving Season 1 had me so excited for Stone Wars, jumping for joy. Leaving Season 2 and entering Season 3, I am even more excited than what Season 1 left me off. And I love Dr. Stone. I say it all the time. It's one of the best anime in the past decade, I feel. But the way the second season leaves me is I feel like it branches off into so many more territories that the world is truly opened up. And the story of Dr. Stone can truly get going, and it never felt like it hasn't been going, but it just feels like now we're truly in the sea. It can do so much now, and I'm so excited. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. What did you think of the last episode of Stone Wars? And where do you think it might go with next season and kind of branching off and exploring the world and hopefully discovering the truth of what happened all those years back? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.